Hello and welcome again to Probench How To series. In this video, I'm going to uh, cover how to import participants or companies. So for importing participants and companies, it's a three-step process. Firstly, you need to download the file format, which is a CSV file from the system, so that you have to follow uh, the format given by the system. So the system recognizes the data that you put in. The second is add the data to the file, the relevant data, the participant data or the company's data into the file. And the third is to import the file to the system. So I'll demonstrate how these three steps need to be followed. So firstly, when you log in as a manager to Probench, this is what is the screen you will be coming to. So from here, you need to click on import and then import participants. So in the import participants, firstly, you will see a link which would have the instructions given on how to use this screen and how to import the participant. So feel free to go through this link. Second, you will see that download file format. So this is where you will download the file format or the existing data. So that file will also have the existing data in it. So I'll save this file to a location. Let me do that on desktop. I'll save it. So when I open the file, so this is what I'll see. I there are some already existing companies or participants within the system, so they would be downloaded as well. And the reason why they would be downloaded is you can kind of edit the data or update the data for those existing participants if you want to bulk update something. And also along with this, you can add new participants within the system. So even if all the existing data is there, nothing will be deleted. And what system means, let me enter a participant. Microsoft Corporation. I'll give the internal name same as the display name. I'll give this a region and give them as active and inactive. So by default, these are the only four fields that are mandatory. There is no need to enter any other fields. And I'll cover rest of the questions in the FAQs as well. So by just having this and then saving the data in the format, now I have saved the data and enter the data, download it, enter the data, and now I'll be importing. So I'll browse the same file from the desktop and I will import it. Okay, so now I have imported the participant successfully without any errors. Yeah, so let's see if the participant has been added to the system. So on the participant manage participant screen, I'll check. Okay, so Microsoft Corporation has been added. So the region that I have given, the participant code has been auto generated and the activation has been done. So these are the three simple steps using which we can create or import a participant, or you can do a multiple import as well. So let's go through the FAQs. So first question is, can I modify the data in bulk using the same process? So yes, as I have mentioned, like let me go again to the file that we have created or downloaded the file format, and here I can like go and kind of let's make them all as activate false. So it would be like this. So what I'll do is I'll go to each of these participants and deactivate them, and I can add the same primary contact for all of them. And I'll save this file, and let's go and import them. Okay, let me, yeah. So I've imported them. Okay. So let's again go to the participant, manage participant screen. So if you see, all these participants are now deactivated in one go. Okay. And if you have noticed, the Microsoft Corporation was already added, but in my updated information, it did not add it again because the display name is already existing, and the system has checked that if a display name is already existing, it would not import again. So there is a fail-safe method already available, so there are very less chances of losing any data for any of the participants. Next question is, what does user ID column signify? Can I modify or delete the user ID column? So the user ID column is basically the unique identification ID that is given to each of the participants. So it is this column cannot be deleted because if you delete the column, then the system would give you an error, and it would not allow you to import the file. So this column is very important. Uh, Next is like, can I modify or delete the user ID column? So you cannot definitely delete the column, but if you modify it, then like system will lose the relationship between a particular ID and its display name. So it's better not to modify, or better not to touch this column at all at any point in time. Just keep it as is. If you are adding new participant, then keep it blank and just add a new participant. And if you are modifying an existing participant, so just keep it as is without touching it. Next is the display name column mandatory? Yes, the display name column is mandatory because that would have the name and the name of the participants, or name of companies, or name of countries. So all the participant name would be here. So yes, that is mandatory. Also, I would suggest you to add the internal name along with the display name, and they can be same. So adding them at the same time would be the best idea to go ahead with. So what is the internal name? So internal name is like when you actually start filling the survey, the system internally uses the display name for various purposes, whether it is manager or whether it is within the survey. So it's an internal name that is used by Probench internally. So it's always suggested to have an internal name along with the display name. From where can I get region name and region ID? So that's a very good question, and most of the users are kind of confused with this. So firstly, like, it is not necessary to enter both of them. Okay. So if you have region ID, then you can add region ID, and system will automatically add region name. If you have region name, then add region name into the CSV file, and the system will automatically uh, get the region ID by itself. So one of them is definitely okay to enter, but they are mandatory. So one of them has to be entered uh, in the CSV file while uploading. So let me show you like from where you can get the region name. So within the setup, there is the manage regions. So inside the manage regions, you will see all the regions that are currently available. Okay, so you can just take this name and copy it to your Excel sheet, and that is it. Like that is enough for the username or the region name to be entered. And if you want to use region ID, then on the region you want to use, you can edit it, and this is the region ID you would have. So this can be used as a region ID. So if you see the 73-bit has this region ID, which is very similar to this. So the next is what is generated username and what data will go in that column. So generated username is basically very first thing. You do not have to add the generated username. If you want to, you can, but it's not mandatory, because system would automatically generate if you have not entered it. So generated username is basically the company code which is used by the users of the participant or the companies to register themselves into the system. So this is a code which would be used by the users to register themselves into the system at the time of the registration process. So this is by default added, so there's no need to add them into the file. So the same thing goes to the generated password as well. So there are a few of our clients who kind of follow a bypass registration process. So in which case they do not have users for each of the participants or the companies, but they only have a single username and password where like it's based on the whole company. So all the users of the company would be using the same username and password. So or either they would only have one user at any point in time. So what they use is directly use the generated username and generated password, so that the users do not have to register into the system and follow the process. And so both of these are auto generated, but you can prefer to enter them if you want to. So it's up to you. Which are the absolute mandatory fields in the process? So as mentioned previously, display name, internal name, the region name or region ID, and the is active true or false are the four mandatory fields that are absolutely needed when you import the data. There may be other fields that also can be imported along with this, which are the participant fields, and those fields are basically uh, which are there or displayed at the bottom of the page on the participant page. So these are the fields. So these fields are actually like customized, and you may have your own fields. So those fields also be available for you to import directly into the system from here. So feel free to add them as well. So hope this video was helpful, and in case of any further doubts or any further queries about import participants, please feel free to email me at support@73bit.com. Thank you so much. Have a great day.